Yeah, this is a good one for you. This is a good one. So that's what we're going to talk about today is the psychological price of entrepreneurship. And it really isn't just about being an entrepreneur, this relates to anything in your life. So how many of you are trying to find balance between business, family, and life?
We're not even trying anymore.
Then you need to raise higher.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
You probably should get a jump. A few things have happened in my world over the course of the last couple of months. I think some of you may know. But I lost a really, really close friend of mine. And this friend, and I don't talk a lot about it because I don't like to cry, as you all know. So it takes me a long time to actually talk about bad things that happen in my life. And she was been my rock since I was about 11 years old. And so she's that person you call when you're crying and you can't call anybody else because you're going to look, vulnerable. So she's that person you call, and she would pick up the phone and walk me through it. And no matter what it was, never judged me. She knew everything about me from the time I was 11 years old. As you can imagine, that is a lot of bad stuff. But she still loved me. So yay. So when she passed, I evaluated. I slowed down, and I was like, wow, we were supposed to take a trip this summer to California. We were going to go spy on this guy that she's dating far away. I know it sounds dangerous and crazy, but that's what we were going to do. And we didn't do it because guess what? I was too busy, right? So talk about regrets. So how many of you have regrets? All right, so let's not have those anymore. All right, the psychological price of your business, job, career, even just your daily choices can be taking a toll on your life, health, and the lives of those around you. How often do you think about how you're impacting everybody at home every day? When you walk in the door, what state of mind are you in? Go, shoot, tell me. Overwhelmed?
Tired.
Tired?
Ready to be hugged.
Ready to be hugged. Yes, we all need that, right? What else?
On the phone.
Stressed? On the phones. How many of you walk into your houses on your telephones? Yeah. I saw the real estate agent, so we all do that. Yeah. And then what happens? Everybody's excited to see us, right? The kids, the dogs, maybe the husband. Depends on the day. And what are you? Totally absent. Completely absent. So we have to really evaluate. It's not just taking a toll on you. It's taking a toll on everybody around you too. Your coworkers, your friends, your family, everybody. So let's fix it. Ready?
Ready.
Really ready?
Ready. Don't sound like
Super
it.
committed, 100% ready?
Ready.
All right, let me take. All right. So don't peek at the worksheets in front of you quite yet.
Oh,
How many of you already flipped through them all?
Oh, yeah.
How many of you are high C's in the room? Got that down.
But
Yeah.
I still like to know.
Like to know what's going to happen next, Heidi. So you have a worksheet in front of you, and what I want you to do is write down the top 5 things that are most important to you. Now, granted, when I did this exercise, because I always do the exercises I propose, when I did this exercise, I actually did it with a coach. And so this coach came into my life the same week that my friend died. And he said to me, I want you to write down 5 personal goals and 5 business goals. And I'm like, all right, no problem. So I write down my business goals, boom, 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 personal goals. Like, what are my personal goals? To lose weight, to work, I don't know, like have more time alone, like what are my personal goals, And it really made me stop and think, what are my personal goals? You may have 20, and then you can go back and circle 5, that's fine, but just narrow it down to 5 eventually.
Time in nature.
Yeah. Spouse.
That's family.
I consider that.
Depends on the day.
Marriage, then.
Depends on the day.
What's that?
How about friends?
Right.
I lumped all that
That's
under
family.
relationships.
Okay. Work?
Certain parts of work.
Money?
Not
We
on
need
there.
money, right? I mean, that can be important to us. We can still love our family and want to have money. There is nothing wrong with that. Yeah, that needs to be a priority. We have to pay our bills, right? And peace. Anybody write peace?
That was my number one.
Did you?
Add relaxation, because I'm working on that.
Okay, very good. Perfect, and that's huge. And so when you're actually building out a plan for what you want to do with your life, those top 5 things have to be included, right? If they're not, what's going to happen? You're going to remain a stressed mess all the time, right? So are you checking in with these important things every single day?
No.
Probably not, because you just wrote them. Right? And how often have you thought about this before? Has anybody ever written them down before? I think I asked earlier. Okay, a few of you have. Okay, so the few of you that have you actually checked in with those things on a regular basis somehow to see if you're meeting those needs?
Some of them.
Some of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
You don't have a
top
system
three,
for it
not the
though.
hard
Okay.
ones.
No system.
Yeah, so what we need to have is a system to check in with these things, right? They're the most important things to you. Why would we not be checking in with them, right? So let's check in with them really quick. Are you in the red or the blue section in each one of these important categories? So on number 2, okay, on a scale of 1 to 5, you're going to rate, just pop it on the side of your 5s. 1 to 5, 1 being not satisfied at all, 5 being extremely satisfied. Everything's going great. All right, I see most of your heads up. How many of you had 1 5? Nice. Very good. How many of you had 2 5s?
Down our 5 most important things to us, and then we're just.
You had 2
rating them.
5s?
So.
Okay. Carol, you had 2 5s?
I had 1 5.
1 5? You had 2 5s? You had 2 5s? So you have one person that had 2 5s? So that means nobody had 3 5s.
Nothing's ever.
So that means we all belong in this room. We're in the right place then, if that's the case. Because we all have work to do, right? All right. So, happiness is an emotional response to an outcome. So all of these things make you happy, right? That's kind of the way it works. But your happiness, when you say things like, well, I'll be happy when it's tied to an emotional outcome, right? There's an outcome that's going to then make you happy. So is our happiness contingent on that outcome? Ask yourself that question. I won't make you keep writing, I promise. Go to number 3 and write down, I'll be happy when, and just 5 quick sentences. What are those things for you that you'll be happy when they happen? It would be if Channing Tatum showed up at my door. I would be happy then, that's for sure. Tell me a few of them. Throw them out at me. Tell me a few of them that you said. You'll be happy when what?
I get home to my husband.
Okay, what else?
When we're on vacation.
Nice, what else?
When I'm no longer a vagabond.
Perfect. What else? Give me one more.
Wow. I get a novel published.
When I lose 20 pounds.
When you lose 20 pounds, you're going to be happy. Perfect. Anybody write down? Perfectly clean house. Smart kids who always listen. Right? We'll be happy then.
Smart
A
and
blissful marriage. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Rising numbers at work or in business. Fit body with no cellulite. Yeah, that would be perfect. How about when everyone around you is happy? Yeah, like that, right? That's nice. Is this realistic?
Not a bit.
Is this fair to yourself?
No.
So what are you holding yourself hostage to? Just like Gigi said, right? At the end of the day, are you going to be happy then? Are you really going to be happy when you lose that weight? Are you really going to be happy when these things happen? That's the question. And the other question is, why are you waiting? Right? What are you waiting for?
Yeah.
So you're handcuffed to your own happiness, right? We're just sitting in handcuffs waiting to be happy. Waste of our time. So happiness demands a certain outcome. It's tied to a later time, just like you said. So this always puts your happiness on hold and in the future. That's a problem. For if happiness is what you're waiting for, you may be let down every single time, right? Why? Because we handcuff ourselves to the idea of what happiness is or should be, right? It's holding us hostage all the time. We believe that once we arrive at that thing that's going to make us happy, only then can we be happy. Is that true?
No.
Yeah.
The journey, baby.
Right. What are you holding yourself hostage to? Read that list of I will be happy thens. and ask yourself, what are you holding yourself hostage to? I know people who have said, when I have this much money, I will be happy. When I lose this much weight, I will be happy. And then guess what? They weren't happy. Right? So let's remove the handcuffs from your mind. These things that will make you happy are your own expectations of yourself. Look at that list, read each one of them, and then scratch them all out right now, as hard as you can. Scratch them out. They are a waste of your time. Do it with conviction, and don't ever look at them again. They are a waste of your time. Scratch it out. Scratch it out.
I said, I am happy when.
I'm not
Right?
now retire.
I
I'm not scratching that one out.
You have to. You have to be happy now. You can't. Do you want to wait 20 years to be happy? We're going to make sure that that doesn't happen. So now let go of those expectations and learn to give yourself a break, both literally and figuratively. Stop with the whens. They're done. They're gone. Everything from here on will be were. That will be a were, not a now, not an is, not a going to be. That was in the past. You don't think that way anymore from here on out. Deal?
Deal.
Really?
I didn't think that way again.
Say it again.
I didn't think that way when I walked in.
Good. So this will be good. All right, remove the handcuffs. You no longer have to wait to be happy. Yay! Yay. All right. So if the things you wrote down are truly most important to you, then why would you sacrifice them for anything else at all?
I just run out of time.
You run out of time.
Get tied up.
You get tied up. You get busy, right? We're trying to juggle 500 things all at the same time.
I think there's also some
We all make
self-sabotage.
mistakes.
Self-sabotage? Yeah. Because when we're writing down goals and we're getting things done, it feels good, right? We're making money, we're checking off boxes, we're like score, and we're getting that shot of serotonin, that shot of dopamine, and we love that. That's actually addictive. We know that. Who saw that movie, Why Leaders Eat Last? Okay, that's huge. So we get addicted to that. And then we forget about everything around us because we're successful. We're excited, we're making money, we're checking off boxes. But we forget that we're doing that at our own expense.
You don't prioritize yourself as highly as you prioritize other things.
Exactly. Yeah. Because with those things that you wrote down that are most important to you, they don't all say money, right? They don't.
Nope.
So we have to stop and slow down because our happiness is in those 5 things that you just wrote down. That's where our happiness, our joy is. Joy is coming from within. It's not just being happy, right?
Yep.
Slow down. Take the vacations when you have the chance to, right? The reality is the things that we're holding ourselves accountable to were, notice underlined were, because you're not doing that anymore, actually causing you stress, anxiety, psychological and physical health issues, along with relationship problems, probably both inside and outside of your business. How many of you have ever had a fight with a spouse or a family member about how much you work? Rebecca? Right? I know a few of you have because I've talked to you about it, right? So this happens. So why are we doing that if our spouse is on our top 5 list, and if they're not, you might want to reconsider who you're married to. But if they're not on that list, or if they are on that list, why are we doing that? Why are we not prioritizing that person in our lives? Why? Why are we working so much? Why do we do that to ourselves? So we're literally killing ourselves and sacrificing people and things around us when what's most important to us is not even tied to our daily actions. How does that make any kind of sense? Right? So why do we do this? Because society places a very high value and gauges success by money, looks, material things, and how happy we appear on the outside. Just like I don't like to be vulnerable. I don't like to cry. I don't like to tell people sob stories. Whenever my friend died and my dog died, our operations manager came to our team and said, Jen will be here Monday morning, don't bring it up. Don't say a word. Nobody said a word. I didn't cry. We were good. You know what, though? I'm learning, a little bit at a time, that it's okay to be human. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be vulnerable. And it's okay to be sad when your friend and your dog dies. It's okay. And it's okay to actually give yourself the time to do those things. It's okay. You don't have to stay busy all the time. It's okay. So I'm learning this myself, right? But when we appear on the outside to be successful, what do you think of successful people? Do they sit around and cry and mope? You don't see them do that very often, right? So society has created this, that we have to appear to be happy all the time. But we don't. It's not necessary. Or busy all the time. We're so busy all the time. You know what I think, though, when I hear people say I'm too busy? And I know I say it. I think, wow, you must not manage your time very well. You have poor time management skills. Like, you need to learn to manage your time better. That's what I think. So, do you really care to sacrifice your joy so others will view you as happy? How many of you are willing just to give that up, right? So, we have to change the way we think. Is it time to change your expectations so they match your important things? Will any of you make changes as a result of what you wrote down today? Good. Okay, so happiness is not something you postpone for the future, it's something you design for the present. So, this is something that we all do. We're busy, 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 we go, go, go. What we're doing is we're just being busy, but what are we busy actually doing? Now that we're clear on what's most important to us, your daily schedule needs to actually reflect those things, each one of them. So your personal goals and your business goals have to be equally important. And those 5 things that are important to you are your personal goals because that's where your joy comes from. That's what makes you happy now. There's no waiting for it. That's what makes you happy now. I love this one. Don't mistake movement for achievement. It's easy to get faked out by being busy. The question is, busy doing what?
Oh, I love that.
Well, what are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing in that moment? Do you have to make that call right now? Do you have to send that email tonight, or can it wait till morning? Who deserves your time? Your kids, your work? I mean, where do we put all those things, right? I know sometimes things are time sensitive. I live in a time sensitive world, but sometimes they can wait. So when they can wait, put them off. Enjoy your time with the kids, or whatever's on your important list. Enjoy that time. We were. Notice I said were, because we're not doing it anymore now, right? It's gone? Yes? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, we were constantly running, rushing, doing, complaining, and worrying. Time to stop. Ask yourself, are the things I'm so busy doing actually moving me closer to the most important things to me? Write that down somewhere. Ask yourself this question. Is what I'm doing moving me closer to what's most important to me? And you really have to visit that. Evaluate it once a week. Go back to that 1 to 5. Evaluate it once a week. How well are you doing? Nicole's going to talk for just a second. We have a 5-minute rule in our world she presented to us one day, something that she taught our team, and so I wanted her to share that with everybody. Nicole?
So, like most of you, I am into reading and watching podcasts and YouTube videos and absorbing all that kind of motivational speakers and authors, and sometimes I actually do that so often that I kind of forget what things I actually did not think of is not my own creative genius, and we may not it may not resonate with us in that moment, but maybe it takes the 100th time before it actually absorbs. And so actually that happened to me recently. I was have you guys heard of Hal Elrod? Hal Elrod? Okay, so some of you have heard of him. And he's an author, and he has written the book Miracle Morning. Have you guys heard of Miracle Morning? No? Okay. Well, write it down. It's a good one if you haven't yet. That's kind of where this all comes from. So basically, when I had read the book, and it didn't hit me then, so slow learner maybe. A little bit later, I was watching or listening to a podcast of a keynote. He was doing a keynote speech a while later. But Hal Elrod in the book, he mentions that he, at one point when he was early in his career in sales, he had a boss and a boss and a mentor who told about the 5-minute rule. So who's heard of the 5-minute rule? I know you have.
That's what we have when things drop on the floor at our house.
It's a little bit different. That's a long time, 5 minutes.
Right?
The dog's already licked it by then.
Yeah.
5-second rule.
So this is a little bit different. It could maybe apply, but it's a little different. So anyway, so essentially what happens with the 5-minute rule is if something upsets you, something comes along, doesn't matter what it is, it upsets you, you have 5 minutes to deal with it. and let it go. So that sounds pretty simple, right? 5 minutes, okay, deal with, let it go, like, no big deal, right? So we have 5 minutes total, right? It's not you get 5 minutes and you can come back to it 2 days later. You have 5 minutes total, start to finish. You don't get to deal with it later. That's it, 5 minutes, it's done. You have to accept it and let it go. So how do we do that? First thing we need to do is actually be honest with ourselves about how we're feeling in that moment. Give yourself permission to actually feel what you really feel. Because so often, and especially as women, we don't do that. We brush things under the rug, we move on to the next thing, we're too busy to deal with whatever it is that is actually bothering us. So feel what you feel in that moment, right then and there, okay? And then we have to accept it. But whatever it takes for you, like maybe you're calm and you just need to breathe through something and you are count to 10 and you're that person, or maybe you're like me and you have to stomp your feet and yell and maybe cuss and do whatever you gotta do. But you have to get it out of you so that you can then move into acceptance, right? So a good example, or I guess I should say an example that will incorporate everybody here as not to leave anyone out, it would be something Jen mentioned earlier that we all have experienced is traffic, okay? So maybe we are, heading out the door late because we just didn't have good planning in the morning and we were just, who knows, the dog peed on the floor, the kid did something, we hit snooze too many times, we're not getting out the door when we should. So that might be the first scenario. Or maybe you get stuck by a train and it's the longest, slowest train in all of the Pacific Union. That happens for Union Pacific. These are all really life examples, right? Or maybe it just rained and everyone in Tucson now thinks that the speed limit on I-10 has dropped to 25 miles an hour. That's right. Yeah, or wherever we're going, wherever we need to get to that we're so worried about being late to. And whoever we're going to go meet, maybe that route to get there, every road we take is under construction. These are all things that maybe happened to me last week alone, right? So maybe. So we're going, all this stuff is happening, and what do? What is our reaction to that?
Frustration, aggravation,
Yeah.
stress.
Yes. Our anxiety level goes through the roof. We're upset, we're frustrated, we're maybe swerving through cars and cussing out this person, maybe not me, but maybe somebody else can do that. And, yeah, we're so impatient. How dare that person get in my way? I'm in a hurry. Why are they going so slow, right? Or whatever it is, we're trying to get there, and all that's happening is our anxiety is going through the roof. So at the end of the day, what is that really doing for us, right? It's not good for us at all, emotionally, mentally, or physically, all right? But also, we're gonna be late. So it's not getting us there any faster by being that upset about it. We're still gonna get there when we're gonna get there, but we're freaking out about it in the meantime. The other thing is, how do we look when we show up? Whoever we're gonna go meet, whatever reason we have to be so upset because we're late to get to there, what are we showing up like when we went through all of that?
Frazzled.
Brains ain't working.
Yeah, we're frazzled, we look disorganized, we look like we have poor time management, and we're a road rager maybe. That's what people are getting at. What is an alternative? What if alternatively we decided that we aren't going to choose that behavior and we're going to just, maybe we do get it, we're stopped at the train and we are a little pissed for a few minutes, and then we're like, okay, fine, my 5 minutes is done, I'm annoyed, but it's done because I can't change the outcome, right? All of us control freaks here, sorry, you can't change it, you can't control it, it's done. All you can control is how you react to it. So here we are, we choose an alternative. We decide we're not going to be upset. We're gonna maybe turn on the music, do something that you like, that you enjoy. I like to listen to loud music. It's probably my hearing isn't so great anymore, but you do whatever it is. Listen to a motivational speaker, do the things you like in the car while you're driving. Change the atmosphere so that when you arrive, now what do you perceive to be?
Calm.
Right. Calm. Maybe you're in a good mood. Maybe somebody that other people want to be around. You might be late, but so it happens. So you say, hey, I'm really sorry, the traffic wasn't great, I caught the longest train, but I'm here. The way you present that is exactly how you're going to be received. That's in everything. So if you're showing up to things that are important to you, and that's your family, all those 5 important things you wrote down, or it's anything else, it's any of us, it's coming to this meeting today, I had a flat tire. So talk about having to practice what you preach. I got in my car and I'm like, all right, well, what do we do now? I gave myself just enough time to get here. I wasn't going to be late. So go quickly and get some air in it. It may be flat outside right now. I don't know. But anyway.
It was early. I was just in the wrong place.
Right? Well, right. And that happens. So how you deal with that, though, changes your whole day. It sets you up for your whole day. So you're setting the tone with your behavior and your attitude and the way you want to look at something. Real quick, so it can be, this whole thing can be as simple as traffic in Tucson, right? Or it can be bigger. It can be much, much bigger. It can be things that maybe are deeply rooted from long ago that we haven't wanted to deal with because that's kind of what we do. So if you choose the alternative to look at it, accept it, and let it go, how you move forward in your life can be very reflective of that. So you can either, because you can't control the situation, whatever has happened, right? It's done. We can't go back and control that. It's done, it happened. So you can either be pissy or you can be pleasant. Right?
I like that. Pissy or
Pleasant.
pleasant. I choose pleasant.
And really, this whole thing for me, I just call it like you feel it and then you free it. You just gotta. It's okay to feel it. It's okay to feel it, but then you need to free it because it's not okay to keep that within you. So it's up to you, but and it is simple, right? It sounds simple,
What did she say?
and it actually really
Feel
is.
it and free it.
So that's it. 5 minute rule.
That's good. Pissy
I love it, I love it. And Donna just said, the key word here is choose, right? You choose how you're going to react to things. And it's a constant choice. You're doing this every day, all day, and every minute of your day. But the question is, how many minutes of your life are you willing to waste being mad, sad, or frustrated? And why? Why would you choose to do that? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? I mean, we can all be frustrated all day long. I can find a reason to be frustrated all the time. But why would I do that? And how fair is that to the people that have to work with me, the family that has to live with me, the dogs that I come home to, all these things. It affects everybody when I'm in a bad mood. So I have a choice to be in a good mood or be in a bad mood. I have a choice to react or to, how did you say it? To be pissy or pleasant. I have that choice. So make the right choice all the time. Because guess what you find in this? Joy. This is where your happiness gets stuck, is right here. Okay? Because you choose to be annoyed and frustrated. You're not choosing to be pleasant and calm and react accordingly. So this is where your happiness lies. How you view things, how you choose to react to things. That's it. It's that simple, seriously. It sounds easy, but this takes practice. If you're one of those people that gets frustrated about everything and you have road rage all the time, this is going to be work for you. Serious work. But if you're one of those people that sometimes gets frustrated, sometimes, but it's like my mom. My mother does not get mad at anything ever. Oh, it's okay, we'll get there when we get there. I'm like, oh my gosh, hurry up! Like, and she's like this blissful, everything's fine. Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how does she live that way? And I've always said I aspire to be just like my mom, and that's the reason. Is because she's never mad. Like, she's sad sometimes. She will cry, which I also admire that ability because I think that's strength. Because instead of being angry and freaking out, she cries. That's her reaction, right? Which is fine. I need to narrow that down to 5 minutes for it, but that's fine. That'd be helpful. But at the end of the day, it's really looking at those people, and we all know those people that are blissful and happy and calm, and we're all like, how do you do that? This is it. It's how they react. It's what they're thinking about. It's what they do, right? Okay, that was the answer to how you find joy now. Joy is something deeper. I mean, does anybody have a definition for joy?
It's accepting everything with a good attitude.
It is, absolutely. I mean, when you see a happy person, happiness can be here or here, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, it can be anywhere, right? But joy, you don't really rank joy so much. It's a feeling. It's different, right? It's deep rooted. So every moment filled with joy and happiness, you have no time, no room for stress, anxiety, anger, or frustration. You are in a calm bliss all the time. How many of you would love to be that way? How many of you are already that way? I know there's a few of you.
Yeah.
Carol is a great example, actually. How many of you have ever seen Carol mad? Has anybody ever seen Carol is a lot like my mom, like in that way. She's always happy, she's always calm, and if you present a problem to her, you know what she does? Well, I'm sorry, how can I help you? Like, you know, it's not, she doesn't go there with you. And that's another thing, is surrounding yourself with those right people, right? Those people that don't let you go there. They back you down. They don't let you go, oh my gosh, and this and this and that and that. And you're like, oh, that's awful. I can't believe that happened. Don't, just stop. Just stop. 5 minutes. They get 5 minutes. That's it. Okay, start your 5 minutes and we're done. That's it. First, we have to define what success means to you. We did our 5 important things, right? Now we have to figure out what success is. Success is likely going to be tied to those 5 things, your success. A lot of times we write success stories and they're all about our business or money, or when my company gets to XYZ, that's success. How about, but think about what success really is. And you don't have to do this right now, but take those 5 most important things and really write down what success looks like. You know, this, not win, there's no win in there. This is what success looks like to me, and this is what I'm working toward every single day, using those 5 important things. Does that make sense? Okay, so take the time to do that. So joy is all in the journey now, right? We know that. Let's quit wasting our time. Use what success means to you to define the things you will and won't do on a daily basis. Really use that. Use what it means to you to define what your calendar looks like. If you have in there that your spouse is important to you, but you do not have a date night anywhere at all on your calendar ever, that's a problem, right? Or it doesn't have to be a date night, but dedicated time. Okay? You have to have that. It can be a 1-week vacation, whatever it is to you. Okay? That's all up to you as individuals. But at the end of the day, if that's on your 5 important list, it needs to be in your calendar. Because if it's not in our calendar, it doesn't happen. Right? Oh, listen to this. I love this. Yeah, it's so true. Being where you shouldn't is just as important as being where you should. How many of you have ever missed a kid's game, a conference, something that was really important to you, an event, and you were very frustrated? And sometimes it's optional, but we do it because we're so busy, right? We're too busy for that. But that's on our top 5 list. So why are we missing that? What's happening there? We have to ask ourselves that question. What's really most important to you? Is it being viewed as successful? Is it having money? Or is it really what you put on that list? And it might be all of those things combined, but you've got to find a place for everything, right? It all has to be in your calendar. Share what's important with you with the other people around you so they know. And then they're going to start to respect that when you say, oh, you know what? I gotta check out. I gotta go to a baseball game. Sorry. You know, I don't tell that to my clients. I just say I have an appointment. They don't need to know. And that. Always tell people you just have they don't need to know what you're doing. It's not their business, right? It is an appointment, and it should be an appointment in your calendar, right? So make it an appointment. I have an appointment. Can't do it. Sorry. I mean, we get calls a lot in the real estate world where people are like, hey, I had this happen to me on Saturday. And so I swapped time with my ex-husband with my son. And so I had him this weekend. And I like to have that dedicated time. And I had a guy say, hey, can you meet me at noon? So I had it set up so that he was going to be busy at noon, my son, so that I could go meet these folks. Got to the office, and they texted me and said, oh, we're running about an hour and a half late. Oh, wow.
Wow. That's normal.
I'm like, wait, what? Are you kidding me right now? And I said, oh, and he said, can you meet at 2? It's a $300,000 listing. It's not a little, I mean, it's a good sized paycheck at the end of the day. But you know what I did? I said, you know what, I'm sorry I can't meet any later. I have an appointment at 1:30, so that's not gonna work for me. And I left. I will not sacrifice certain things, and that's one of them, you know? So, it's hard, it's really hard sometimes. Because, you know, you're like, can my kid benefit from that $9,000 paycheck? Probably. But at the end of the day, is he gonna remember what I buy him, or is he gonna remember the time I spend with him? What's he gonna remember?
You just hit the button on the one thing that changed. Because once you respect your own time, other people respect you.
Right.
And it's very,
Yeah, and there's a lot of
it
different.
changed my life.
There's a lot of different ways, and if you ever want to talk about that in your individual businesses, I'd be happy to do that, but I thought a lot. And learning to say no. Who said that at a meeting a few weeks ago? Somebody said that out loud. Carol, I thought it was you. Oh, look at that. The blissful one.
Yeah.
The joyful one is the one who has learned to say no, right? Because how many times do we want to jump and say yes? You know, oh, can you run do this for me? Nope, I can't, you know. Just say no. It's okay. And you know what? If your calendar is really full of the important things to you, you probably won't have time anyways, and you're not even going to be lying when you say, I have an appointment, because you really will. You probably won't complete it, but I want you to write down at least a couple of them, okay? Because this is your pathway to tying things together. So write down 5 experiences you would like to have in your life. Hard, right? Like experiences. You can't include Channing Tatum, that is all mine. Totally joking. But really, think of those different experiences. It could be, you know, hiking a mountain. It could be just having date nights with your family every week. It could be a lot of different things. I mean, what are those experiences that you would like to have? And it doesn't have to be futuristic. It doesn't have to be far away. It can be now. It can just be experiences you want to have. You want everybody around you at work to be happy and blissful. You want, what is it? What are those experiences? It can be big. It can be that you want to go to Paris and spend 6 months. I don't know.